Hey, what's up? I haven't made a video in a while, so I've been feeling this little feels in my heart, so I decided, the perfect moment to make one. And this video is going to be talking about something that I talk about a lot, um, which is the notion of how love is supposed to be opposed to how it actually is and how it's presented in our lives. We grew up thinking that love is supposed to be perfect. And when I mean love, specifically in this context that I'm speaking, is romantic love. They tell us everything's supposed to be perfect at first. Um, you're supposed to feel like you're in heaven. The honeymoon stage, we talk about that a lot. How things are in the beginning. And, it's kind of like for me specifically, and what I'm about to say, it's all my opinion and what I have acquired from my own experiences. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. It's just what I have discovered myself and how it has made me um, better at understanding other people and love itself and how it occurs and how it happens. Um, I think it's an illusion. It's an illusion that love is supposed to be easy and all happiness at first. Think about it. We're all very complex beings. Um, it takes time to get to know people, specifically in the setting of this world we live in, because we're very shut down, we're very closed in. So to expect for everything to be perfect right away, it's kind of an illusion. Why? Because both people are working at keeping an illusion together. We do what each other wants to see, we tell what each other wants to hear. We build this idea of who we think the other person is according to what we want them to be because they're pleasing us. So in a way, there's an illusion to it. And it's a beautiful thing to experience love in that way. It is. For me, how I experienced love the first time ever in my life was when I fell in love with a friend. I didn't notice it. I didn't even know what the hell was going on, to be honest. I think if I would have noticed, I would have probably ran away scared. Because love is a scary thing. So, to me, it happened in that way. And I think it should happen like that for everyone. We shouldn't even be noticing what's going on. When we jump into getting to know somebody with the intentions of being with them in a relationship, we're already taken away from the authenticity of the moment. And you just wonder, who are you really? This is what love does. It kind of shakes you up inside. It makes you do things that you never usually do. Blah, 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 blah. So that in turn could inspire you or shut you down, really. For me, I choose to let everything inspire me. I choose to grab the lesson out of everything. And love has so many lessons. Love is that light in the darkness. But we became so scared of it, and I just wrote a mini blog about that on Instagram. This flight or fight response that we got used to activating because back in the day we ran away from beasts. Bruce Lipton talks about this a lot in the biology of belief. He talks about how we got used to running away from beasts, and when we lived in villages, and we used to just activate itself. So we used to like save energy from our immune system to run. So what is going on now? We live in a society where we shut down. The same thing gets activated in our love and relationships. And what that does is that it lowers our immune system and we get sick and we're more prone to getting sick and we're more vulnerable to disease and so many things. So healthy love and the love that doesn't need defending, the love that is free, the love that gives the freedom to simply be because it exists, because it gives the freedom to explore it, to get to know it, to get deeper into it. That kind of love doesn't activate that flight or fight response. That kind of love is unconditional, and this is what love really, really is. And unconditional love is not necessarily like I'm gonna be with you for the rest of my life, because that's unconditional love. Sometimes unconditional love is also letting go, because you realize, you're not learning anything anymore with this person. It's a never ending repetitive cycle of flight or fight responses. Once you realize this and you can speak about it with the person, I mean, the possibilities are endless of how it should go. But I know one thing: there is no perfect way for it to happen. And I know one other thing: once I have fallen in love with somebody, once I have gotten to know them in that way, that close human way, it never goes away ever again. I will always love the person I was with before because I got to know him in that way. It has nothing to do with romance. It has nothing to do with sex. And it does make me a little sentimental because we live in a world where they say, oh, you still have feelings for your ex, you still love them, you still want to be with them. And you know what? That's false. That's false. Just because we get to know somebody in a human way doesn't mean that we have this egotistic need to holding on to them and being with them forever. Sometimes you have to come to the realization they need to go out there and learn other things from people. And it's not about having the thought in the back of your head, oh, we might be together in the future. No. It's about the right here, right now. What are the lessons that we need to learn right now? What are the triggers that we need to use to learn? So when people try to fit love in a box, and television does this, and anything that we're exposed to in terms of how romance goes down is very synthetic. And as we're growing up as teenagers, even since being a little girl, I was exposed to these programs, and they really, really mess with our minds. Until this day, I had to remind myself where I stand and where love stands in my life. And I understood that it is a force beyond no other, and it is what unites everything and brings everything together, whether it's people, our existence itself, our circumstances. That's what love is. It's a beautiful force of realization, of transformation, and why it is so scary to many, because it shakes your ground. It shatters your ego. But that's what love is. That's what love's supposed to do. You want love to rescue you from the darkness. You need to be okay with letting it transform you into your highest self. And the only way that you can do that is by welcoming all the lessons. Not by beating yourself up because you weren't able to keep a relationship together, or because you anything that is related to what you pictured in your head is a program. Even if the program's good, even if you have good intentions, it's still a program. The day of tomorrow, the person could walk away. They don't want to be with you anymore. What are you going to do? You're not going to drown in pain because it's your fault or because it's their fault. You have to accept their decision and their willingness to walk away. How many people do we see that stick together that are no good for each other? And that is their soul contract. I'm not saying that they're meant to be apart either. That is their soul contract. They're still there together learning a lesson, and that's what it's meant to be. But there are so many ways to go about it, and that is the point. Love gives us that freedom. Love is beyond all structures, all mental patterns and mental programming that we think how we think it's supposed to be. And that is the ego shattering experience that love brings. And this is why people say they hate love, but you don't really hate love. You hate the uncomfortable experience it gave you because it shattered who you think you are and how you think the experience is supposed to be like. And that is hurtful. Not just anybody is for that, There is no right person for you. There is no... You create that. You create your right person, as in you yourself to be that right person. And the other person willingly does too. And this is what love really is. The willingness to be the right person for another person, for them to be the right person for you. We shift, we change, we create to be a puzzle that fits together. And we make it work together. It's not written, or even if it was written, and this is the eternal paradox that we have to understand. The fact that we have freedom within our own destiny. And I know it's hard to grasp, but it is something that changes you. It's like, okay, I'm meant to go through this, but I have choices and they matter. So love changed my life. Love woke me up to who I really am. And I just fell in love with my whole existence, and I could just easily cry because that's how I feel. I would always have feelings for anybody that I've got to know in depth. Always. From human to human. I love you from human to human. It's not from woman to a man. It's not from vagina to dick. It is not from Carolina to X. It is from human to human. I love you because I got to know you deeply. And it made me willing to see myself more, to transform into the best person I could be. And I cannot be more grateful for anything like that. I thank you for sharing your love with me in this video and spending your energy. And that's what love is. Love has brought you here. Thank you.